What exactly is a bottleneck when we're talking about traffic?
Absolutely. So we've been studying traffic bottlenecks and specifically truck bottlenecks for 15 years now, actually 20 years, but for 15 years we've been publishing this list of the top 100 bottlenecks. And we're essentially taking real world data from trucks, GPS data, to look at how slowly they're operating and at each of the locations where we study how many trucks are impacted. So speed and volume go into a calculation to come up with the 100 worst bottlenecks, choke points where we all sit stuck in traffic. Although it's called a truck bottleneck list because ATRI's data comes from tractor trailer trucks, these are really choke points for everybody because, as we all know, as we drive around Atlanta, there are trucks everywhere, there are cars everywhere, so these are congestion points for everybody.
Thank you for letting us know about that. Tell us a little more about your study and what went into this. How did you all conduct this study?
Absolutely. So we have continuously been receiving truck GPS data. It comes into ATRI in real time, and we can study a whole host of things. So we monitor traffic congestion at 325 locations around the U.S., quite a number in the state of Georgia, as a matter of fact. And so we look at truck speeds, we look at truck volume for a full calendar year. So this latest report is from 2025 data. And we come up with this calculation of the worst bottlenecks. And Atlanta, actually the state of Georgia has 9. They are second only after Texas, which has 12 of the nation's top truck bottlenecks. Georgia has 9, and all 9 of those are in the greater metro Atlanta area, predominantly around 285. And your highest ranking bottleneck, or our highest ranking bottleneck since I live here, is Spaghetti Junction. It comes in as the number 3 worst bottleneck in the country. It is actually up 1 spot from last year's list. And in fact, Spaghetti Junction has been the number 1 bottleneck in the past. Back in 2018, it was the number 1 bottleneck. Then it was replaced by a location in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area. But it is creeping back up again this year at number 3.
And talk a little more about Spaghetti Junction, I-285 at I-85 North. I mean, how did it get this name, Spaghetti Junction?
Well, if you've ever seen an overhead shot of it, you can imagine where the name came from because you've got all these interchanges sort of looping around, much like a bowl of pasta, so Spaghetti Junction. But when we look at our truck data, we can see that over the past year, truck speeds have gone down almost 2%. And again, that's congestion-driven truck speeds. And for, as we call them in the trucking industry, for four-wheelers out there, car drivers, you're experiencing those same pain points as well. And Spaghetti Junction is not the only one in Atlanta. I mentioned we've got 4 in the top 10 in Atlanta. Coming in at number 5 is where I-75 and I-285 intersect. So that's not too far from my office here, and I can watch the traffic grow every day at that particular bottleneck. And number 6 is where I-20 and I-285 intersect. And then number 10 on the nation's top truck bottlenecks is actually down in McDonough. It's a stretch of I-75, but anyone who has traveled that south side of Atlanta knows that's a very challenging place for traffic as well.
And how does this, affect consumers' pockets, the drivers out there? How does this impact prices?
Absolutely. So everything you have in your life travels at some point on a truck. And we have, in separate research, calculated that congestion across the entirety of the United States costs the trucking industry $109 billion annually. $109 billion. Significant cost to the trucking industry. And so that cost to the industry bears out in the price of everything we buy and have in our everyday lives, from the food we eat to the clothes we wear to the fuel we put in our cars to the furniture we put in our homes. All of that is impacted by the cost of transportation.
And, Rebecca, I want to know, are we seeing any signs of improvement here? If not, what can be done?
Well, certainly we know that when there are work zones or construction zones, when departments of transportation like GDOT are working to improve locations, travel speeds go down, congestion gets worse. But the good news is, over the years we've been doing this, we've seen locations where the construction has finished and truck speeds, which is how we measure things, start to increase as traffic flow is improved. And in fact, what was once the #1 location in Chicago years ago is now down at number 26 because that location, that interchange was rebuilt and traffic flows greatly improved. And so as you see those construction cones around 285 and the work that GDOT is doing, hold out hope, because when those projects are completed, we know that we'll see traffic flow greatly improve.
Rebecca, thank you so much for talking about this Atlanta bottlenecks and how it impacts us here driving in the streets of Atlanta. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
And now I want to get to a story.